Behold, my Patreon supporter aGingerMonster asks, what word do you hate, absolutely despise? What would you call such a word? There are a couple of different ways I can think of to answer this, and I feel like the more interesting one is like what word as a social event or a mode of communication do I hate, rather than like what word as a physical experience do I hate. So I'll explain what I mean. So like physical experience would be like moist. Everyone says moist ointment, crevice, it just feels awful to say those words physically. Like forming your mouth into those words. Like it feels slimy, like moist. Like it's automatopoeia, but in the worst way. It's like you're imposing it on yourself. So I mean, yes, I hate those. The interpretation I'm gonna take of your question, which again, like, perhaps that is not what you mean. I actually sort of like the moist anointment things. Like, they're disgusting, but I really enjoy automatopoeia. Like, I just think it's fascinating, and the English language is particularly strong at it. I think there are some other languages, like Japanese comes to mind, where occasionally there's fortuitous automatopoeia, where like the Japanese language syllabary, which is very small, has the ability to make a word that sounds like something else, but not all that often because there simply are not very many sounds in Japanese. In English, the syllabary is like, I think it's like 4,000 sounds, whereas Japanese is like 40. It's probably more like 60, but anyway, you get the point. It's huge. So English has a ton of automatopoeia, which I actually really enjoy. And even though it's disgusting to say the word moist, I keep looking at the word moist in my show notes for this. It's like, I don't know, I still just kind of like it. It's a word that it's good when you use it for what it's for. You know what I mean? So rather than interpret it that way, I'm going to talk about basically like the word I hate. I said it as like as a social event or like a communication technique, and that would be, well, it's two. So it's mate and bro. When people say those things, I hate that. The reason I hate it is because it is almost always, and again, like there will be exceptions. I know there's going to be someone in the comments who's like, I use that word and I'm nice. And it's like, you probably are. That's not the point. Like, those words are used in the context of it's like saying we're both from toxic monogamy and masculinity culture, so we're friends, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's trying to use those words. Those words are used. Using those words is a way to align yourself with someone in a way that is very shallow and not desirable by people that have actual standards. I do not want to be part of your dude fist culture where somehow it's okay to just be, honestly, usually kind of a douchebag, because we're all guys here or whatever. Like, I'm not interested. You know what I mean? So I hate those words mostly because they are used in the context of, it's always like, I'm not buying what you're selling when people say that to me. It's just like, you're trying to say that we're on the same page and we're not on the same page. And I don't want you to rope me into your silly dude culture. Like, I'm not interested. Again, like there are exceptions to the usage of this, but just to give you an example, I had somebody come into stream a few days ago now, and they said, like, some throwaway comment like, I hate this game, go play Fortnite or whatever. And realistically, like, nowadays we get these comments every day. So I jokingly typed like exclamation point ban, their name, and it's a slash. Exclamation point is stream elements command. So I knew it wasn't going to do anything. It was meant to be like a tongue in cheek, like, well, like, you're out of here. That's how quickly I'm dismissing that comment out of hand. It was meant to be, I was making a bit of fun since they were taking the piss by making that comment. And they kind of got it and were like, yeah, okay, we'll agree that was a bit silly of me. And so I said, okay, well, if we can agree that, since you're here, can you explain to me why you said that? Like, surely you didn't think that I was actually going to go play this thing. And surely, if you hate Warframe so much, you don't want to watch it. But, like, you must have sought me out. You can't be a fan previously. All I make is Warframe content. I mean, there are a few people that say they don't play Warframe anymore, but they like my videos. But the point is, surely that's not, like, the reason that you're here. You came to the Warframe directory and went to my stream, even though you apparently hate the game, and you genuinely want me to swap to you know what I mean? It's just inconceivable. So I wanted to know, what is it? Why? You know? And they said like, nah, dude, nah, bro, it was bro. It was dude is kind of fine. Um, Whole different discussion about dude, but I like your stream and I want to support you, but I just hate Warframe, so whatever. And I was like, but you okay? So you're saying you're here because you want to support me, but do you mean like as of just now, like as of a few seconds ago, you decided that you are now a fan because of the way I reacted to that one thing? You're now willing to consume and support my content, even though it's about a game that you don't like, as of just now, because I basically made fun of you, actually, in a way that was like civil. No way, right? Like, it can't be. This is somebody making a comment to save face. They know what they said was absurd, and now that I'm making an inquiry into it, it's indefensible. There's no response that doesn't sound idiotic. The thing they did was stupid. So they have no other recourse but to say, I'm doing something positive, you know what I mean? Even though like that's crazy. There's no possible way that could be, you know. And it's not a coincidence that this is the type of person who they want to put bro in there as a way to like de-escalate and put themselves in that culture of like, it's not a big deal, like we're all guys here or whatever, and like it's fine, like don't get so upset about it, which is what most people that use this term say. Now I'll go on a little bit about mate, which is a bit different, because in British culture, which of course I am not like a member citizen of, but I have spent a good amount of time in England, considering that I do not live there, and in different parts of England. And my experience is that mate has a slightly different connotation. It's a little bit less like, in normal discourse, like on the street, it would be very uncommon to hear somebody say bro to someone as like a serious greeting or like pronoun almost, you know? Whereas in England, it is not uncommon. Like I heard it plenty, even though I've barely been there in the grand scheme of my life. It's more common, right? I still feel like online, in the context of being on the internet, this is a thing that is said in the same way usually, and it's just like a different geographical version of bro. But at the same time, it does kind of have a different connotation, so I just wanted to note, I definitely still hate it, but it's still really annoying. It still grinds my gears, and 99.9% of the time that somebody says dude or bro, the comment that is attached or surrounding that little sentiment is always just like stupid and vapid and not anything you would want to bother reading. And that's not a coincidence, because trying to align yourself in this sort of social way rather than making it like a point when you say something is not a good conversational technique. Like if you're genuinely having a discussion and you try to sidestep the discussion, or again make it be okay just because this like shallow non-connection, like that is inherently a calling card that you are not going to be engaging in a productive discussion, and you probably don't really know what you're talking about. So I hate what it stands for, if that makes sense. Obviously, every single time someone says mate on like a British television show, or like when you're walking the streets of London, I don't like throw a hissy fit, you know what I mean? Of course not. And realistically, most people don't think of these terms this way, which is why I hardly ever bring this up. You may notice if you frequent my stream that people say this all the time, and I almost never say anything about it, because it's just not worth it. Like, people don't have the concept of, I've been hearing this over and over again every day for my whole life, and it's annoying. They just think of it as, oh, I said this one thing this one time, and then the person blows up. Like, you're never going to have any influence on them that way. So the way to do it is, as painful as it seems, is to create a culture where no one says that, and it's a good, desirable culture that you want to be part of, like our community. And then when people enter that community and they say that thing, they will learn over time not to say that thing. That's how people pick up these things in the first place. The reason that people learned to say that in the first place is because they're in this dude culture that people say that in. So if they're in a different culture, eventually, just like immersion learning for different languages, they will stop saying it. And that happens. You'll notice that in my, I'm looking at my Discord window right now, people just you don't tend to hear that. And when you do, it's always someone new to the community. Yet some of those people remain in the community. So how is it that it's always new people saying it? People are unlearning saying it because it's just not it's a non-word. It means something you would never want to imply. Like, it's just not, there's never a good reason to use this thing. Except ironically, of course. Anyway, that's a topic for another time too. Ginger, I hope that you enjoyed my answer to your very interesting question. I gotta say, like, there are a lot of words, like as memes, that I really dislike that I kind of didn't go into here. And the reason is that I feel like at that point, I don't really dislike the actual word. It's really how it's been appropriated, which I think is a different discussion. And I think even with the dude and the bro and mate thing, okay, dude is maybe a bit annoying too, but you know, indeed, these are things that it's not really what they mean, you know, exactly. Like, they've sort of become their cultural context. So I understand that it's not directly the word. It's just that ultimately they are kind of slang terms. And so it's not like they mean anything else. You know what I mean? So another example would be, I hate the meme term trap used in that context, but that's not really what it means at all. You know what I mean? Like, that's only a social event that is happening currently in our lives, unfortunately. So it's like, I don't really hate the word. That's like, I hate that interaction. Whereas bro and mate have never really had the connotation of anything other than like that thing. So it's not really fair to say they are only their cultural context, even though they are absolutely almost entirely defined by their cultural context. Pedantry. Thanks for watching. I'll see y'all later.